Welcome to the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. Today, got a little bit of a recruiting update for you. We're going to break down LSU baseball on their path to the Super Regional, how much more they're going to have to do to get to that College World Series, and a couple of other topics. ESPN FPI, Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets. We got a bunch of sports roundup for you. Let me share this to our people on Facebook real quick, as per usual. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12:30, YouTube and Facebook. You know the drill. You know the socials, at Verdin Verdict. You know where to find us. Let's talk about some news that might be considered unfortunate, depending on what side of the fence you lay on. If you're an LSU fan, yeah, you might be worried. You might be a little uneasy when you see some of the comments, some of the new storylines, if you will, that are appearing out of your commits or out of your targets. Let's break it down with Lamar Brown. We talked about it with G the other day. Now, I'm not so sure that I'm leaning towards Lamar Brown being someone that LSU is going to get. No, it's not impossible. He's in your backyard. He's in Baton Rouge. He goes to ULab. All those things play into your favor. But you see things like this, Sam Spiegelman, who's a trusted recruiting source. I feel like if Sam's saying it, it's probably one of the more credible, rumblings towards this prospect. He's talking about the University of Miami making a substantial move. Now, we know what he means by a substantial move. We can sit here and talk about LSU getting more competitive in the NIL budget realm, the revenue realm, but I mean, they're not going to touch Miami. Miami's budget is rumored to be around $30 million. LSU's 18 million, and that's just after it got increased. Adding 6 to 7 million from Bryce Underwood's departure, the $1 million match program, this, that, the third. You're still kind of a small fish in the grand scheme of things. In Miami, all these different schools, A&M, Texas, those are the big fish. Those are the kahunas, if you will, the sharks, the whales, whatever you want to call it, whatever damn animal or mammal you want to slap onto them. They're a lot bigger. They're a lot stronger. They're probably going to be able to pay a lot more. I'm a little worried. Now you got Josh Newberg from On3 reporting the final two teams, or your heavyweights, if you will, A&M and the Hurricanes. Now, there's a couple of topics I feel like, or a couple of narratives that you can get in this. First things first, Lamar, if you don't know who he is, he's a double trench player. He plays offensive line, he plays defensive line. A lot of people are going to go around and around on what side of the ball he's better at. I would say defensive line, but hey, look, I'm going to leave that up to you to judge. He's the number one D lineman in the country. He already got a commitment from the number one wide receiver in the country, who is the number 4 in the nation. In terms of total prospects and Tristan Keys, this would be huge for LSU's class. Depending on what site you look at, On3 got LSU's 2026 class at number 2. 24/7 has it in the top 10. Whatever source you want to use, they're building together a pretty big, a pretty big group. And if you add somebody like this, it's not only a feather in a cap or a jewel in the crown, if you will. It might be one of your best players of recent memory in Lamar Brown. So I feel like this is somebody, yeah, you definitely have to, lock in. But now I'm getting a little nervous. Now I don't know what you do. What do you do? Just lean on the pitch of opportunity, branding, the spotlight. You can't do money because the top two teams right here are going to be able to pay almost double what you're paying. Even if you're going to throw them, I'm not going to put a number out there, but I feel like somebody can come out here and write a blank check to be able to get his eyes popping. It depends on what his focus is. It depends on what he's going to be able to be motivated by, if you will. The ULAB thing, like a lot of people are going to kind of at face value think that because a coach is in their backyard that they're going to have a easier time in terms of building a relationship, building a connection. I will be devil's advocate here for a second. The kid might also have, kind of grown a little restless, got a little tired of LSU's campus. I've been here for 4 years already, maybe longer. Who knows how long he's been in this environment? He might be ready to spread his wings and fly and go to a brand new spot that's going to pay him a hell of a lot of money. Something that I would definitely worried about. I know it sounds backwards. Sometimes it just don't work out in the way you're thinking it's going to work out. Sometimes that common sense aspect of it gets lost. And I'm going to kind of bring this into a different realm here. We're going to talk about Tristan Keys for a little bit. Just made a post on Instagram at Verdin Verdict. Like I said, if you didn't follow us, go in the description, click the link. We'll bring you right to the profile. You'll be able to get all your news from us as well. Tristan Keys is on a little bit of a recruiting trail himself. He's got Tennessee on the schedule, Alabama on the schedule. Yeah, his final visit will be at LSU, but today he signs a deal with Adidas to put him, I think, a $540,000 NIL valuation. That's a pretty penny for somebody who's still in high school for another year, hasn't even decided where he's going to college. But at a face value, people are thinking, that's a pretty good deal. And you might even think, hey, he might not be motivated by money. He just got a check. He just got a huge, huge endorsement from one of the biggest companies out there. I mean, it might be Nike or it might be Adidas. Either way, one or two. The thing that pops into my head now, you got to think about what teams are sponsored by what brands. Obviously, LSU fans know that Nike is the uniform apparel sponsor for the Tigers. I'm not trying to say that him signing an Adidas brand deal is indicative of him going to another university, because we got athletes that have had shoe deals with people outside of Nike. Flaugier has one with Puma. Angel Reese had one with Reebok. I am kind of wondering though, who put this deal together, because those two stars I just named had built their reputation, won a national championship, have been in the forefront of college sports and the spotlight for a long time. This guy hadn't even pulled up yet. So it does beg the question, did a school like, I don't know, Miami get the connection there, an Adidas school, repping the three stripes? There might be some strings getting pulled on that side. Now, I'm not trying to worry, and I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth. I'm just saying that's a narrative that we're going to have to keep in mind. Tristan Keys, yeah, he's committed as of now. He's still got a few schools left to go. He's still got a lot of people pulling him in every direction. The number one wide receiver in the country. You're going to have to sink your claws into him to make sure that he don't grow wings and fly as well. These two people, in Lamar and Tristan, you're most pivotal in this entire class. Also, the two that I'm really, really worried about them keeping. And yeah, you can say recency bias, Bryce Underwood, Decorian Moore, Jakeem Stewart, all those things are in the back of your mind. You're worried that you can potentially see the same old story once again. And yeah, we keep hearing LSU's in a different spot financially. We keep hearing that they're going to be able to compete a little bit in the realm of NIL. All I want to say is this. I'm going to end the segment off right here. There is a real possibility that as LSU increased their budget, so did everybody else. There's a real possibility that LSU added $10 million to their budget and every other school added 20. The boosters that were at those schools that put those schools ahead initially are still there. If they see a competitor giving more bread, throwing more checks, what do you think they're going to do? Sit back and say, nah, it's good enough. This is a competitive industry. You gain every single advantage that you need, or any single time that you can get one up on somebody, you're going to do it. I guarantee you that all these budgets are going to grow. Yeah, in the Tristan Keys aspect, you can say, okay, LSU can catapult him. He already got a little bit of a brand now. He already has a little bit of a following. He has some appeal. LSU can make it that much better. It's kind of tough to pitch that side of it now to a kid who already has a shoe endorsement deal at like 17, 18 years old. He might be able to figure it out on his own. That's all I'm trying to point out. It'll be interesting to watch. I'm hoping that he comes to LSU. Wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, unfortunately. Let's talk about something a little more positive. Let's go into the college baseball world. Everybody saw the game on Monday. If you didn't, you missed a good one. Tigers rallied after going down 5-1. Damn near everybody, including myself, was like, we probably should turn this off. I was texting G during the game at one point. He told me about in the second or third inning. He's like, yeah, they got a lot of baseball left. And I admit, I wasn't as optimistic as that. I thought at this point, Little Rock scores 5 runs. I didn't think LSU could match it. I didn't think they were going to be in a spot where they're going to be able to claw and fight back and get to the point to where they were inevitably of, hey, we might actually be able to keep this season alive. They were looking slow at first. Little Rock jumped ahead early. But shout out Casey Evans. Your freshman pitcher came out and threw straight gas, straight fire, whatever you want to say. 8 strikeouts in a row, 12 strikeouts total. He pitched, I believe, 3 to 5 innings. I think it was 5 innings. Zach Cohen, though, your starting pitcher, in the first inning, he gave up about 3 to 4 runs. He didn't even get to finish the second inning. 5 runs total allowed on him. I ain't knocking him. I'm just saying, you were in a spot where you were like, oh my God, every single thing you throw in their way gets popped up, gets thrown out into an alley, gets into a situation where they are creating offense left, right, and center. LSU can't get anything going. I mean, the biggest piece that I will say, or at least I will shout out for LSU's offense, is Ethan Frey. 4 for 4 with a home run, 4 RBIs. Had a walk, I believe, had a double. Dude's close as hell to a cycle. Throw a triple in there, he would have been batted around. That was the lifeline. That was LSU's entire explosive point to get them into consideration of even getting in the rally. Then obviously Bear Jones in the 9th inning had some insurance with a 2-run shot. LSU was only up 7-6, I believe, at that point. And then boom, you rip it 9-6. And then another one comes in. That is what I think is shaking up the odds book, shaking up everybody's opinion, making them think that, hey, LSU might be able to put something together. As you see on the screen here, Vegas is getting froggy. Vegas didn't waste no time putting them to the top of the pack. Right here, it says the odds are plus 380. I checked before the stream. They're even down to plus 310 in terms of getting more favored. Maybe the public's betting it. Maybe, they got some new information. I don't know what's causing the shakeup, but I find this interesting just because a lot of people are writing LSU off. It's hard not to. You go down 5-1, you lost the night prior. You're in a situation where you're in the box against Little Rock. Final 15 games of their regular season, they lost 14. It didn't seem like LSU was one of those teams that you could look at to be a real contender in the College World Series. And now flash forward, they win this game on Monday. Boom. They're the number one team in the country in terms of odds, at least in the eyes of Las Vegas for what it is. Shout out Anthony Einson, relieved in as I think his second save this season. That was phenomenal. Had 3 strikeouts and 1.2 innings pitched. Shout out to him in the K2 walk-off Selly. I think that, you got a bit of momentum building. You're going to invite West Virginia in this weekend. You got some more playoff baseball in the box. It'll start Saturday at 1 p.m., by the way. I'm worried in terms of what you got waiting on you if you make it to the College World Series. If you go to Omaha and you're in the spot of facing the number 2 or number 3 most favored teams in terms of odds. You got the Razorbacks. You got Tennessee. They're going to be duking it out in their supers. If you make it past West Virginia, you've got the best team in the country potentially, or the next best, who might have your number waiting on you. Now, I'm kind of pumping the brakes on this whole plus 380 talk or plus 310 talk. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to say I'm undermining LSU and what they're doing. I think it's a little bit of a reach right now, though. After what you saw last week, after what you saw to close the season out, especially with the pitching depth. I mean, my guy Anthony literally just came out on Monday to relieve. Yes, 1 inning, but still, he had a little bit of a short rest. Now you could potentially throw someone like Cade on Saturday. Maybe he'll be ready for a Sunday game, and hopefully, that's all you need. You don't got to dig deep into the bag, into the bullpen, or whatever the case may be. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to watch how they can run these pitchers around in this rotation, in this lineup, and not gas themselves out and put them in a spot like they were in Monday, where Cohen comes in and gives up 5 real quick, fast, in a hurry, and your offense has to scratch and claw back for the next 8 innings. For the West Virginia series and the Supers, LSU's minus 430. That's a little shocking. I'm like, oh my God, we're not even at 200, 300. In my head, I would say the perfect line would be like 180, 220 minus, obviously. 430? I'm a little interested in how these odds are getting made. Like I said, next 2 teams, Arkansas, Tennessee, they're going to play each other in the Supers. LSU gets the winner in round 1. You could look at it optimistically, right? You could say, all right, you get your tough tests out the way early. If you do somehow, some way beat West Virginia, you do make it to Omaha, you play the winner of Arkansas, you get that momentum, you get that hype, you get that big dog out of the way, could be a nice little path to get a national championship again. Then all the questions get answered. All the doubters, all the rumors, all whatever the hell you want to say, all the tweets no longer get, popped up speculating if Jay Johnson's the guy or this or that or the other. LSU baseball's been getting questioned a lot lately. And I think this pressure of being the most favored team to win the College World Series, it might not help out that much in that regard, because the expectation here, apparently, according to Vegas, is that LSU should win the damn thing. And I think they got a pretty tough path. Obviously, West Virginia, and then, like I said, the next number 2 or 3, depending on how you look at it, is going to be waiting on you in your first game. Shout out Jay, though. 500th career win on Monday. Hopefully he can get 501 and 502 this weekend and punch a ticket to Omaha once again. But to be determined, we'll be there covering it as per usual. You know the drill. Let's move into another segment, ESPN FPI, Football Power Index. If you don't know what it is, it's a computer-based model that ESPN uses to try to predict or generate who they think the top 25 teams will be going into next season. Now, obviously, it's subjective. Obviously, a lot of people have problems with it, but it's always a good little model to kind of give you a little early preseason prediction model, right? It gives you a good glimpse into what they think will happen this season. A couple of takeaways I have from this. Who SEC teams all over the place. I mean, whether you look at the top 5, top 10, top 15, or just the entire board as a whole. You got 13 of the top 25. That's over half. You're at 52% right there. You got 10 of the top 16. Obviously, that's over half once again. And in the top 10, you got 5, which is evenly at half. Now, I'm not going to, spark a debate. I'm not going to talk about the college football playoffs again because we've kind of been beating that dead horse. But this does give them a little bit of credibility in their argument of, hey, we need a certain amount of bids, we need a certain amount of seeds, we deserve a certain amount of teams in this playoff because, quite frankly, we're the best conference, we're the best teams, we got the best product, we got the best players, got the best everything. ESPN apparently believes it as well. If you look at the way the order is, Texas, Georgia, Bama, skip a few from the Big Ten, and then you got Independent and Notre Dame. A&M made their way into the top 10. Tennessee's hanging on for dear life. And LSU at number 12. Let's break into the LSU notes, right? The first thing that I want to point out to everybody, look who's ahead of them by one spot. Clemson at number 11. I ain't going to try to make no connections based off of a model, but the computer is thinking that Clemson has a better chance to end the season higher. And they can't do that without beating LSU. So I wanted to point that one out. The projected win total for the Tigers of LSU, that is, not Clemson, projected 8 wins. College football playoff odds are at 30% chance. They compare it to a team like Alabama, who's got a 74% chance, or Georgia has 80-ish% chance. Texas is in the high 80s as well. That's a huge drop-off. They think in terms of, let's look at, if hypothetically you did get a 4 auto bid this year, which you won't, it'll be straight seeding. But if you did get the 4 SEC auto bids, it'd be Texas, Georgia, Bama, A&M. Then LSU would still have to potentially hope for someone like Tennessee to drop out from in front of them because that would be the 5th. LSU in this model is the 6th best SEC team. Now, I'm not going to say that this is indicative of anything or damning or something that's going to potentially hold them back. But this is a moment for a lot of people to dial back some expectations. And that's not a bad thing. Saying dial back your expectations to a lot of people makes them worry like, oh, a team ain't going to be good, or, oh, we ain't going to be able to get these wins. No, not necessarily. But I wouldn't just put the expectation of winning a national championship or anything other than getting to a playoff for the squad. The playoff, I think, is the best long-term goal in terms of keeping your sanity. Because if you expect an SEC championship appearance, you might be in for a long season, coach. Because you're probably going to open the year up. And I'm not going to, this last time I'm going to say this until we predict that game. You might open the season up with another loss with Clemson. And it wouldn't be the end of the world for a variety of reasons. They're a former conference champion last year. They're probably going to win their conference again this year. And you really won't get penalized for it. They have the best quarterback, if not the best and top 3 quarterback on their team in Cade Klubnik. Number 1 in returning production. That's nothing to slide over. 4 projected first-round picks. Every single avenue that you want to break them down in, they're a damn good team. And quite frankly, they're underrated. They're put at 11 right here. I'll be the first to tell you, this is the only team in the ACC you really got to worry about. I know Miami's at number 9. I know they locked and loaded with Carson Beck, and Cristobal's a great coach. I think Clemson is the team to beat. They have to be. They're the defending champions in that conference. Even if they make that conference, I think their conference championship, they're guaranteed a spot in that CFP. I wouldn't put them at 11. I think a lot of people are underrating that team, and hopefully LSU fans don't find out about it in week 1. I would love to see the Tigers start undefeated. They're going to enter a gauntlet quick. It's like you start a treadmill, and instead of working your way up from 3 speed to 12, you're going to hit this shit at 20. You're going to try to put your feet down on it, and you might flip and have to pull that emergency cord for a second. That's what I'm not trying to see. Might be in for a rough one, though. Hard to deny, though, that I think the SEC is the top conference. I think this is backing it up as well. And a lot of people aren't going to buy into the FBI hype, and that's fine. But I think this will be an interesting thing to revisit at the end of the year to see how close they were to it. A couple of other, observations. I think South Carolina's too low. Look at them at 15. If I had to guess who was a top 5 SEC team, that's going to be in there. Look at how good they were last year. And I'm going to say it one more time and bring up unfortunate bad memories for some people. But, hey, a lot of people think they beat LSU. A lot of people think on the road that if you take away one piece of laundry on the field that's bright and yellow, South Carolina's in the college football playoff. And I ain't going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and disagree with them. I think that game was one of the, worst parts of their season. This year, they got an opportunity to show why Lenore Sellers is who he is, or is projected to be who he's projected to be. He could be one of the best in college football at that quarterback position. And you're really, I'm not going to say only as good as your quarterback, but if you've got one QB that could be rated top 5 or hell, the best dual threat quarterback out there, you got a puncher's chance in just about any single fight you're going to get into. And that's just the fact of the matter. I think they're way too low on the board, just like I think Clemson's too low. Another one of the observations I took from here, I'm surprised Texas Tech is not on this list at all. I mean, if you look long and you look hard, you see two Big 12 teams. I see Kansas State. I see Arizona State. And I'm not going to disagree with those two. But I think Texas Tech is kind of getting overlooked. I think with the portal class that they brought in, the recruiting class, the consistency that they've kind of been producing there, it could be a team to watch. People are probably overlooking the Red Raiders for a variety of reasons. Recency bias. What have you done for me lately? Not much. I think that's a team that you should note, though. And lastly, I wish we had G on here for this, but I think Michigan's too high. 17. They got a freshman quarterback in Bryce Underwood. Yeah, it's a talented program. It's a hell of a conference. I mean, we're sitting here worrying about LSU making it through their gauntlet. How about Michigan's gauntlet? You're going to play teams like Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. That's not a walk in the park. That's anything but. If you're going to say the SEC is the number one conference, who's the number two? It's the Big Ten. It's still a very competitive environment. Matter of fact, the last 2 years, them included, there's been Big Ten champions. And I'm not trying to say anything other than this conference still has a gauntlet to run through, and we are expecting Bryce Underwood, a freshman quarterback, to be able to carry them through that into a point of being ranked in the top 20. I dial those expectations back a little bit. Now, we could go around and around about it. I think that's a little bit overzealous, at least for your first year. Bryce will be a great talent. I ain't being bitter. I think he's going to be successful. I just think that's a lot of expectation to pin on somebody that we really haven't seen anything from. It could go great, but it could also go kind of shaky for a little bit. I thought that was an interesting point out. Let's talk about the New York Jets. The other day, I gave my NFL hot takes. If you didn't see it, go take a look back. It was our Wednesday stream last week. One of my hot takes, though, was that the Patriots are going to completely flip their record around from last season. I think that they are in a spot where they reloaded, but may have overlooked the Jets a little bit. We're going to revisit that. And I'm not going to walk back my statement. I think the Patriots are going to have a hell of a year and win double-digit games. Yeah, you can hold me to it. Even if they win 9, whatever, I'll admit that I'm wrong. The Jets, though, the culture that they're building through Aaron Glenn, it can't go overstated, quite frankly. What he's doing, the Bible study program, a lot of people are just going to see this and they're not going to think much of it. Yeah, it's optional. It's voluntary. You don't have to do it. But what this does is it brings a room together. It brings a room together and focuses on a connection rather than a distraction. You're not on the Hard Knocks. You don't got all these cameras all around your building. You don't got all the attention on you, all this drama, all these narratives. You don't got Aaron Rodgers here on a podcast talking about a million things about the GM or this or that. And not that it's a problem, more so that they don't have to be the center of attention. Vegas gave them a 6-win total, and it's favored. But there's not a huge bar that they have to reach. And quite frankly, the Jets, they've been so bad where I feel like the fans are just going to be used to things like this. Even the last little go-around that they've had hadn't been great in terms of watching Aaron Rodgers come and go as quickly as it happened. I do think that this focus during a rebuild is very pivotal. This is called transformational coaching, guys. I ain't going to give many examples. There are a lot of different types of coaches here in sports. You got transactional, you got transformational. I think in this instance, this is the perfect description and example of a transformational coach. Somebody that's going to change your life, meet you where you need to be met, help mold you off the field, on the field, everything around it. If you need advice, if you need a shoulder to lean on, you need anything, this is your guy. And you hear a lot of people talk about it. Fellow Louisiana athlete Amik Robinson talked about it during his time in Detroit. A lot of people have given Aaron Glenn credit towards, the ability to be able to bring a team together. And I think that that's going to be a huge catalyst for the Jets. Not going to lie. Another thing that's going to be a huge catalyst that I think is kind of going overlooked as well. Their offense is loaded to the gills. Got Justin Fields. It's a pretty good replacement, rather, in terms of, okay, yeah, you had Aaron Rodgers. Okay, yeah, you thought you had a franchise quarterback, a cornerstone, if you will. Like I said earlier, the most important position in football. You got somebody that I think is pretty damn good to replace him. With Justin's time last year at the Steelers, I mean, yeah, he got pulled, but with what you've seen from him, I think that he has a ceiling where he could be a guy. He could be a top 25, top 20 quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and say top 10, but next year he can make his claim, especially with the weapons around him. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Mason Taylor. Shout out to the LSU boy. You got pieces. It's not an empty room. I mean, it's not a situation where You're thin at one spot or the other. I mean, even on the defensive side, you got Quentin Williams, you got Sauce Gardner. You've got a lot of names. And if you got somebody like Aaron Glenn getting everybody on the same page, the sky's the limit. You don't have to even do much to be able to shock people and overturn expectations right on their head. 6-win total, third worst Super Bowl odds. Everybody's writing them off. I think it might be a little unfair. Jets might be able to be in for a huge turnaround. I'll say one more hot take. I give you one more. I gave you 2 the other day. I give you a third one. Just, I don't know, give you a little line yap. I think the AFC East could be in a huge turnaround period. We've been talking about the Bills. We've been talking about the Dolphins. We haven't been talking about the Jets or the Patriots. Come next year, or maybe the next 2 years, I think that entirely changes. I think the best 2 teams in the division could be the Jets and the Patriots, and then the worst 2 could be the Dolphins and the Bills. A lot of people are thrilled by that comment. Not saying Josh Allen's time is running thin in Buffalo, but at the end of the day, there's just not many things left in his arsenal or left leaning in terms of giving him advantages. Their window might be slammed shut and over with. Something to note on. You can hold me to that one. Let's talk NBA Finals here. We'll wrap this up. Hop out of here. Tomorrow, they kick off Game 1. What the Halley versus Shea, the MVP. Hey, this is going to be a damn good series. Everybody is a little worried in terms of small market teams. I think this is cool. I think this boosts the NBA. And I mean, there's a lot of things you could talk about in terms of small markets, right? They're going to gain more strength, though. Here's why. This is something that not a lot of people are considering in a small market. You don't got to pay as many taxes. When you're a superstar in Oklahoma City, making $280 million, you get to keep a lot more of it than if you're in Los Angeles, New York, Boston. Something that kind of goes over people's heads a little bit. And I ain't saying that Shea is permanently a Oklahoma City Thunder, player or a resident or Cavs or whatever the hell you want to call him. I'm not saying that he's always going to be there because, they had a rough go with Kevin Durant, with Russell Westbrook, with Paul George. They did have trouble keeping people in that market. But that's an incentive that nobody's talking about. Yeah, it could be a small city. Yeah, it could be a small fan base. They're going to be loyal, and you're going to be able to get a check. Not a lot of people around you. You're the guy. All the money's heading toward you. Super maxes, $75 million a year salaries. And then to top it off, like I said, you retain most of it. That's the beauty, I think, here as to why you're seeing teams like this jump into the finals. Also, shout out to Thunder because of the rebuild that they were able to do from trades like the Paul George trade, the Russell Westbrook trade, whatever the hell you want to say, all the draft picks that they've stockpiled and eventually turned into superstars. Thunder have a tough scheme to stop, though. I'm going to get into my prediction now. They're very explosive on offense, obviously, averaging like 120 damn points, or excuse me, they could probably drop 500 if they really, really wanted to. On defensive, their defensive efforts, though, I think go underrated. I think that you got to pay very close attention to the Dort versus Halliburton matchup. Dort being their shooting guard, just got named first team All-NBA honors. I'm going to dial it back to this season, and it might not be indicative of what's to come. But it's important to note that the Thunder are 2-0 over the Pacers this year. And it's not just like they're going in and winning. I think they're winning in convincing fashion. Shea, in Game 1, where they won 120 and 114, had 45 points. Halley had 4. 2 field goals. 4 points because of the matchup he's facing against Dort. That kind of helps you get into that first team All-NBA matchup or honors. Second game, Shea has 33 points. They win 132 to 111. Halley has 18. And look, he's got to do a lot. You deserve a game every now and then where you get a night off or whatever the case may be. Some people are going to be pissed to hear me say that, but I'm not going to put the expectation on you. You have to drop 40 every single night. But Shea does. Shea does that. He has hardware for a reason because of it. And I'm not trying to say the Thunder are guaranteed a run at this title or it's locked. But if you go into Oklahoma City, take care of business at home, and win 2 of these games, I think it's over with in 5. The only way I think that the Pacers can stretch this to a 6 or more game series is if you clutch up and steal one on the road. They always say a playoff series don't start till a road team wins, and you better not let Oklahoma City be that team that wins on the road, because I guarantee you, if you relax a little bit, if you sag off and turn your swag off, they're going to fire on you. You're going to be down 40. Ask the Nuggets about it. It's a rough go all season long. Let's look at the odds now. Vegas is all over Oklahoma City. Now, a lot of people are going to get a little nervous about that. A lot of people are going to think, hey, might be some room for some finagling. 9-point spread for game one. Pacers are plus 310 on the money line. And some might argue that they've thrived as underdogs. This, playoff period, they got tested a lot. Knock off the Bucks, knock off the Cavs, knock off the Knicks. 3 really big teams. And Knicks beat the Celtics too. Are you defending champs? I mean, hey, I'm not going to, undermine any of that. But I will say, a lot of people are underrating. A lot of people are saying, yeah, got a damn chance. The entire series odds, the Thunder are minus 700. The Pacers are plus 500. You're in the NBA Finals, supposedly the best 2 teams, and Vegas has you minus 700? Just to put that in perspective, if you're not a gambling person, that would put the Jets that we just talked about in that segment, the Jets have better odds to make the playoffs than the Pacers have to beat the Thunder. The Pacers just have to win 4. That's it. 4 games. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're already in the dance. It's not like it's the beginning of the playoffs. First round, second round. They're in. It's June. They're dancing for the Larry O'Brien right now, tomorrow night. And that's the odds? I feel like I've never seen anything like that for one, and I think that is a huge outlier. More odds to compare it to. That'd be the worse odds than the Titans getting to the NFL playoffs. By the way, the Titans just pick first overall. I don't know if you know much about the NFL draft, guys. If you pick first overall, you're the worst damn team. You got the Jets getting average or projected 6 wins. Better odds for them to even make the playoffs through an 18-week season. Same thing for the Titans. And I'll keep it a little relevant to the NFC South. The Panthers have better odds to be better than the Saints, Falcons, and Bucks, which just straight up ain't happening. That's the 4th worst team in the NFC South. Maybe 3rd worst if the Saints really do, like a lot of people are worried about. But whatever the case may be, it's a huge, huge, huge discrepancy. And I'm shocked by it because I feel like the Pacers are not a horrible team. And like I said, if you somehow, some way split one in Oklahoma City, take one on the road, steal one, you might have yourself a 6 or 7 game series. I do think if I'm going to give you a pick to lean on, I would say take the Thunder. Now, I just don't think it could be, the dominating 30-point blowouts. I'm hoping that Hallie turns something up, clutches up, balls out, puts those 2 games in the season behind him, and takes one in Chesapeake. I hope he steals one on the road. If he does, you're probably going to be watching an instant classic. You're probably going to be watching a team really come into their own and show everybody why they shouldn't be underrated. Now, if Shea puts on his cape, shows why he's the MVP, drops 30 damn points every night, and Dort clamps Halliburton, you're going to be in for a long one. And it ain't just Dort. I'm sitting here praising Dort. Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and Shea's not a bad defender in his own right. They're long on defense, and they're explosive on offense. So just when you think you got an opportunity to jump in and make something shake, they're going to clamp you and make you miss 40 in a row. It's an interesting, breakdown of the entire series. I think it could be a good one. It starts tomorrow night. Like we said, that's my pick, though. If you really want to take something, I would take, I guess, the Thunder to win. But damn, it's a 9-point favorite spread. Don't even bet them to win the series. It's minus 700. Ain't no point. It's nasty. 9-point spread? I don't even know if I would lean on that one. It's game 1 of the finals. You never know. Never know what can happen. Might be able to sprinkle some Pacers money line. I don't know if I'd do it in game 1. I'll do it in game 2. I think they walk out of Oklahoma City split 1-1. Because if they don't, so what? I already start packing for Cancun or whatever damn vacation you're going to take. I think you could be in a real bad hole. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. About to hop out of here live on Wednesday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12:30. You know the drill. We'll be back on Friday, hopefully with G Sports. Have a good one.